are to be in pictures. You're wonderful.
This podcast contains spoilers for Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. You have been warned.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Talkies. I'm Kenny.
I'm Devon.
And I am Taylor.
And this is our inaugural episode of the Talkies. But before we dive in, we have to acknowledge the sponsor, as always.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This episode and every episode of the Talkies is brought to you by delicious yerba mate from Guayaki. We work insane hours here at Carmen Line Studios. I mean, I'm really tired most of the time. This stuff is the only reason we get through our days. I like Blueforia. My favorite.
It's a good one. I'm more of a Revelberry fan myself.
I like to do with gold, but I have Revelberry here standing in its place.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Check it out. There, you can find them everywhere now. Guayaki yerba mate, come to life. Thanks, Guayaki, for your continued support. All right, so let's dive in. The Talkies.
Yes.
What is this? Why are we here? Well, you might be wondering that very thing. So we're going to explain.
Kenny,
Yes?
could you please explain why the Talkies?
Oh, well, sure.
happening?
You see, the word the Talkies is a reference to when movies started having sound. Because pre-sound era, movies were just that, movies.
Because they move.
Pictures that moved.
Oh.
When they added sound, they were now talkies.
You know what's interesting? That
So,
they've
if
gone
you haven't-
back to movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why'd we go back to
Well, sir.
movies? I don't know. I'm sticking with talkies. I am a traditionalist. If it has sound, it's a talkie. Now, if there's sound but they don't talk, like a non-dialogue film, I don't know where you go there. A soundy.
Well, just a movie.
Soundy.
It's a soundy.
Oh, sound, but they don't talk. 'Cause
Yeah,
you got
it's a soundy
sound,
movie.
Fully sound.
Soundy.
Anyway, the point is, this is a podcast about movies.
Yes.
Hope that was covered. Hope that was obvious.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with Carmen Line yet, and this is your first time finding us, we currently have two other podcasts. One on video games, hosted by these two guys,
Yeah.
D and Taylor, called
Yes, sir.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Good stuff.
You can find that on iTunes and all other fine purveyors of podcasts right now. And then, of course, our very popular WTF M. Night Shyamalan.
Yep.
Love that.
6-episode serial podcast diving into the strange and wild worlds of one of Hollywood's most polarizing figures. Check it out.
Yeah.
Polarizing is correct.
Okay, so why don't we, since this is our first episode, why don't we just each take a turn introducing ourselves and saying, just give the listener an idea what we're each bringing to these discussions about different movies.
Sure.
So you start, D.
Well, my name is Devon Keys, and I am just a huge, huge fan of movies. I got into film school just a little bit after college and became a filmmaker myself and gravitated towards cinematography, and then later on down the line met these two wonderful guys over at a shoot we were doing, and we've been not really working together ever since, but we've worked together a few times, and now we've committed with Carmen Line.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, we had a long dating period, and now we're married,
And now we're married.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a three-way kind of thing.
and we're open-minded, so that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's an open relationship.
Open company.
Thank goodness,
Yeah.
because two of us are married to real people. We won't say which two.
Which two?
We'll let the listeners guess. For the record, D is an extremely talented cinematographer,
Yes.
filmmaker.
Oh,
Yes, he is.
stop.
We all call ourselves filmmakers here at Carmen Line. He's probably the only real one.
I deny.
All right. Taylor, you're up.
Yeah, my name is still Taylor. Hasn't changed since the beginning of the podcast.
Oh,
Nice.
that's good. That's good.
And I guess Kenny just said I couldn't call myself a filmmaker, but I'm going to anyway.
Gee.
Flying in the face.
I'm a filmmaker. I've been love film for my whole life, pretty much, and have just kind of decided to, at a young age, I decided to just commit full force to making films. I didn't go to film school, so I'm not book smart, as they say.
So he's a plebe.
Yeah, I'm
a miserable plebe.
a plebeian.
He's street smart though.
Yes,
He's street smart
I think
with regards to film.
I've had a bit of experience of working with Dee and Kenny. Kenny's been like a mentor to me. He's taught me a lot of what I know. Kenny and YouTube is my film school.
All right, Kenny
Yes,
and
sir.
YouTube.
Yes.
And you too can subscribe to Kenny and YouTube Film School. $200 a week.
Kenny and YouTube.
Happy to teach you all I know.
And I actually met Dee on my first ever experience on a more
that was your first
legitimate,
one?
yeah,
I didn't
more
know that.
On a
legitimate
real
set.
film set. Yeah, that was an amazing experience. All three of us. That's where we all came together.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
quite fun.
A show called Kids from Planet Earth,
Yeah.
which was amazingly fun to shoot and may never really see the light of day.
Unfortunately.
That's
Yeah.
very sad. I do hope it comes out sometime.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
But it was a great experience making it.
Yeah.
And it should be added that Taylor has a sort of experimental, edgy side that makes his work especially interesting.
Yeah.
Totally worth catching a couple of his shorts on YouTube, especially if you don't mind having nightmares.
If you've ever seen the film Mother, that's basically Taylor right there.
Yeah, he gave Mother a standing ovation. Like
Good
it
one.
was like he had just seen Rocky. He was like, "Yes." We'll talk about Mother in one of these episodes
Yes,
when we
definitely.
cover Arnofsky.
Yes.
And finally, I'm Kenny Ballantyne, filmmaker for about a decade now, largely focusing on documentary work in the past. I really wanted to expand out into more genres and accomplish some things that I didn't feel like I was capable of, and that's what brought this partnership together with Dee and Taylor and myself.
Yep.
And we believe we have some interesting things to say about movies, and that's why we're doing this. And if you find it interesting and enjoy it, subscribe, rate, review, tell us about it, and
yes, definitely.
and enjoy.
Definitely.
So, for our inaugural episode, we went over this minute back and forth trying to figure out what is the movie and the topic we want to cover in episode 1. And the votes have been tallied. Today we are talking about Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Blade
Where-
Runner 2049.
To begin.
So we just, us three saw this movie together.
Yeah.
But that was my third time watching the movie.
It was Taylor's second
Yeah, and your first.
and my first.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And oddly enough, all three of us are total film geeks.
Yeah, definitely.
But I actually saw the original Blade Runner just a week prior to going to see the sequel.
So you saw the final cut, right?
I saw
Or
the
whatever it was
original
called.
theatrical release
Yeah.
version.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Which everyone shakes their head, says that's
Nah.
the wrong one to see. But you could also make the argument that really that's the real movie because it's the one that was released.
You could say- I
it's
don't
the
know.
one that was done. You know,
I don't know which one I saw. When I was
there
how many
narration?
cuts are there?
There's like 5.
there's 4 or 5 cuts.
Yeah.
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 But they at a certain point they stop varying so extreme. It really comes down to there's probably like 2 cuts. There's theatrical with and without narration, and then like some ending changes stuff.
Yeah.
What did they change?
The big implication is the dream sequence, which is kind of implying that Deckard is a replicant. So there are some
right.
that have like a hard kind of implication that he is a replicant, and some that leave it more ambiguous. There's also a like a car escape sequence at the very end of the theatrical cut that was cut out of every other cut. So
really?
yeah, all the other cuts end right when they right when Rachel and Deckard meet up at the end and leave the door. It ends right there. Keeps it ambiguous.
Do you know the history as to like what went wrong or right with this original film that led to there being all these cuts? Why can't we just leave this movie alone?
It was, as is the answer for that question for a lot of movies, is studio meddling. So the
really?
studio, saw the non-narrated cut and thought it was too confusing, like it was too hard to follow for audiences. So they had Harrison Ford come in and do a bunch of this like kind of campy voiceover to explain a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Oh, right,
that
right,
kind of
right.
thing.
And then Ridley Scott
yeah, he was against
obviously
it the whole
didn't like
time.
that, so
Yeah.
he wanted to mess with it after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your backlight is off.
Oh no,
I just
Oh.
realized that.
I'm not backlit.
Nope.
Well, the show must go on, dear. For the record, in future videos, I'll be backlit. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, you don't care.
The backlighting makes you stand out so much more in the voice.
It makes my voice
It makes your voice resonate,
more.
yeah.
You can
Yeah.
just hear the light
You hear the
bouncing off
backlight.
of my
Hearing all those photons.
intonations. All right. So we're about to dive into the new film. But before I do, the one thing that I want to say about the original is that I'd had this movie hyped up to me for 20 years.
Oh, yeah?
About how this is like one of the greatest movies ever made. And I kind of went in expecting one thing and got something totally different. And so I actually didn't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
I mean, really cool world building. I mean, just amazing art direction. Like, this is a cool looking movie.
Oh man, Cyberpunk is
yeah.
at least from Ridley Scott. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's really cool.
Really cool.
So I thought it's a cool movie. If I had been told, check out this movie, it's a really cool sort of art house experimental sci-fi film. Like if I went into it with the same expectations I had when I saw THX 1138,
Right.
I would have probably liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
But people talk about Blade Runner like it's a Star Wars type movie. And
Sci-fi classic.
Yeah,
Interesting.
your sci-fi classic, and I'm like, "Ooh, no. I mean, it was very hard to follow. It is, even with the narrator, it's a slow burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Camera stop.
Camera stop.
Camera stopped.
All right. For the record, guys, we are shooting on DSLRs
Woohoo.
because we're indie filmmakers, and indie filmmakers have DSLR cameras. I think I restarted this one.
Yeah,
We
it's
going?
going.
Looks good.
Yeah.
All right.
And they only run for about 10 minutes at a time. So until we upgrade,
Yeah. Excuse us.
just excuse the occasional camera stop.
Camera
again.
stopped.
Yeah. For you film people out there, that'll just make you feel right at home.
I just wanted to say my first time that I watched the original Blade Runner was actually an assignment from cinematography class, and it was because we had to replicate the look of just whatever movie, and I picked Blade Runner out of the hat, and so I was like, okay, well, let's go watch it, and I realized there was like 5 cuts in the movie, and I don't remember which one I picked, but I remember the cinematographer, Andrew Cronenwith, I think that's his name,
Don't know.
did some just crazy stuff in this movie, which they actually carried over into the sequel. So anyway, so that was my first go.
Yeah.
And,
The sequel is very true to the look and feel
yeah,
of the original.
very.
It's also much more narrative than the original.
It is. It is interesting. Yeah, it's far less art housey.
Yeah.
Yeah. While still being
Like,
like, it's so easy to appreciate that movie from an artistic
Right. It's
standpoint. Some of the transitions they did are like just freaking brilliant.
Dennis.
Villeneuve.
Yeah, that guy.
The
Has
guy,
an art house. feel
Sicario
about him.
guy.
Sicario,
Yeah, he's
right?
Just
great.
call him Dr.
Even
Sicario.
Sicario.
Dr. Sicario.
Even though it was an action narrative movie, still felt almost art housey, like Arrival. Arrival did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, he has
Oh
a
yeah,
very,
Arrival too.
very distinct feel. His films have very specific feels.
Supposedly he's doing Dune,
Which
a
is
reboot
perfect.
of Dune, which
That's so
would be,
perfect.
he is the guy.
Yeah.
Like that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you read those books and you're like, no one could pull this off in a movie.
Yeah.
But he might.
Yeah.
He might. And most people won't like it.
Yes. Yeah.
But I will.
Which is okay.
So, Blade Runner 2049. Going into this movie, I had just this concern that I was now broken as an enjoyer, as a consumer of movies.
You told us about this on the way over there.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen anything in so long where I was just like, yes, this was a great movie.
Right.
I've been spending too much time analyzing everything, trying to find the flaws in things so I can make them better and better and better. And it put these goggles on me that I can't take off. and I watch movies, and I only see the problems, and it's ruined a lot of. I mean, we went and saw Alien Covenant earlier this year. I like the Alien franchise a lot. I'm in that minority that loved Prometheus. And and after Alien Covenant, everyone was just like, yes! And like my cousin next to me is just like, that was bitchin'. And I look at him and I'm like, that sucked. That so sucked. And so I was really concerned, like, I'm broken. I can't enjoy a good movie. And this was the first one in a long time where I was just like, slow clap. When I got up, I was like, bravo. Bravo. It is a well done movie.
Man, really well done.
Seriously, as a really big fan of the original, I'm actually very confident in saying that I like Blade Runner 2049 more than the original.
It's a no-brainer for me, just simply because I'm not a huge art house fan, but I'm also not I'm not old enough to be part of that generation who really liked that movie. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's clear to me that the sequel is much better, but
and to me it made the original better.
Yeah, it does.
It made the original better
I
to
can
me.
See that, yeah.
Whereas first I was just like, well, it was interesting. It had cool visuals. Now I look at the original as like this like bonus material I can go watch to enrich the world of 2049.
It's the prequel.
Yeah. See, this prequel works even better for me.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we're saying things that are blasphemous here, by the way. There are a lot of, I know a lot of you people listening, watching are just like, these guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Because, that's a sacred cow to many film nuts, but that's just how I feel. So let's talk about this movie a bit more. One of the things I really appreciate is when I see a film that is very dedicated to a color palette.
Oh, yeah.
And they just stick to it throughout. And this movie is so orange and blue that when you walk out, you feel like it's burned into your eyes. Like you can still see orange and blue everywhere you look. I mean, it's just like, it's really cool. Even in like the more bleak scenes.
Yeah.
At the end, it's super, super dark. And they're like outside of that retaining wall that's keeping out the rising sea levels, so awesome. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And it's very, very dark, but there's still a total blue hue to everything.
Yeah.
And all these little orange highlights once you go inside of that sinking
even
flying
inside
car.
the whole little car thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right when that scene kicks in where Kay's about to go visit Deckard, and it's orange, and it's like that big wide shot with Kay right in the middle walking in this like orange haze.
Yeah.
The first time that kicks in, that whole sequence, which the whole sequence is orange.
Yeah.
But it's just like that sound design. There's like a ginormous like musical hit right when that happens, and then the tons of reverb just drowns it out for like a solid 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is just so dramatic.
The sound in here was
done.
Freaking crazy.
Incredible sound.
Like the first movie that I've seen for a long time that's had a score that's almost overpowered the visuals.
Yeah.
It's intense, yeah.
Yeah, to make it like really intense.
It's also one of those scores that is more noise driven than melody driven. They're painting soundscapes that are musical yet not melodic whatsoever. Like you don't walk out humming the theme at the end because you can't recognize it. Like the theme is like it's just like
it's just noise.
These weird droning noises, and yet it's amazingly good. It's
really
very
cool
good
stuff.
Yeah.
Save for the very end when Kay is laying there dying, I think. And the old.
By the way,
Blade
this
Runner
is a
theme
spoiler podcast.
Oh, my bad.
We'll put a warning at the beginning. We do spoil things in this podcast. Continue. He's dying. Yes.
He's dying, and the original Blade Runner theme melody kicks in.
Yeah, and they revert to that 80s synth a few times.
Yeah.
And I like that too.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I know I'm watching a really good movie when, like, during the climax of the film, like right at the end, my heart rate starts speeding up a little bit, and I get
Yeah.
a burning in my bosom kind of a feeling.
Yes, well, that
Burning in my bosom.
Taylor typically doesn't feel things.
That's the problem.
So a good movie, that is a sign of a very good movie if Taylor is feeling emotions.
So not a lot of movies do that for me. There's like a handful. The
It's
Truman
weird because
Show does that for me.
You're an abstract
Yeah.
expressionist,
Yeah.
so you would think you would feel a lot more.
Yeah. Well, that's why
Well,
I am that,
no.
because I
His
need.
abstract expressionism, like, pushes in intensity.
That's yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I need that.
Where you would feel emotion from a
extremism.
smile, he feels emotion from like someone screaming while oil's being poured over his head in an extreme close-up against a black void,
Yes, exactly.
which is
yeah.
in one of his movies.
All right.
I need the
Yeah.
extremism.
Right.
All right.
But Blade Runner did that for me. One, when that score kicks in
Yeah.
at the end, I was totally in it just because of how just epic, not in as in like epic, but epic as in like, you know, the actual word of like length and scale.
Yeah.
And being in that world for a long period of time and going through this really intricate story that has a lot of, it's not cliched. It's not a cliched story, so you kind of never know where it's going.
Not at all.
And it's really fun to follow.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't really anticipate any of the main story beats in this,
No.
which again was another really refreshing thing.
Yeah.
It really stuck to that complex noir structure.
Yeah.
You know, where you have so many lines that are twisting and turning, and you're just waiting to see when they all coalesce.
Yeah. It was interesting to see how long they took to bring in Harrison Ford.
Most of
Yeah.
the movie.
I mean, it's like 75% of the movie goes by before you bring him in, and it's almost like a new movie starts when he comes in. I also really appreciate a film that overbuilds the world. And what I mean by that is like many movies, if they're going to put an element in a landscape, it's there because it's part of this story. And you need to know why it's there to understand what's going to happen next. But I really love films that have like giant crumbling statues just strewn about on the ground that Ryan Gosling's character is just walking by on his way to find Harrison Ford with there's no explanation. There's no exposition saying like what this used to be, what happened here.
But there is
doesn't-
a rich history within the
It's
visual.
implied.
Right.
Yeah.
It's implied
Yeah.
that there is a complex history and world here. I'm not going to tell you
Right,
about
but they
it.
don't tell you about it.
it's
Yeah.
not
Right,
the story.
and I love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, that makes it feel real.
Yeah.
It makes it rich, you know.
Yeah, makes it authentic.
And
Yeah.
it takes a lot of effort. That's why it's not done very much. You know.
Yeah.
Can I bring up something controversial real quick?
All right.
Oh no, here we go.
And this is not controversial to us, but when you talked about the freaking statues,
Yeah.
I read an article that was talking about how sex was displayed in this that was degrading towards women.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big article that talked about how sexist this movie was.
Really?
Because of because of the big statues had boobs. And girls we're in these positions and the sex scene, which
Well,
by the way, holy
is
crap,
awesome.
was a dope sex
That
scene. Yeah.
That was the greatest. Oh my gosh. We'll get in that in a second.
Yeah.
But on the very timely topic of the objectification of women,
Yeah.
which I didn't think we'd be digging into today, but why not? That's a weird thing to pull from this movie.
Yeah.
Wait.
Especially a movie that has two very powerful female characters.
Yeah.
One of them is like one of the most unstoppable force, frightening baddies that I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Love was so good in
She
this movie.
kicks the crap out of everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Camera.
camera
My
break.
bad. Camera.
Restart the DSLRs, please.
Our bad. No, don't worry about it.
That one's good. Was that one still running?
just go now.
Okay, and is this one going now?
Yes.
Okay,
All
great. Okay, so we're back on, and we're talking the objectification of women in film,
which is a really weird.
which could be
stance
a
on
whole
this
nother
movie.
episode, I think.
But yeah,
It was part of the world building that this was a world in which people bought AI for sex purposes.
Right. I mean, well,
it's
even
part of the world.
I mean, even Joy, right? That was the android name.
Yeah.
Even she was advertised as a sex android.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kay just used her for a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know. The person who wrote that article may be a very sheltered
I don't
film
know,
watcher.
man. Yeah.
Because I can name 24 movies off the top of my head that are way more
Oh yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to get that out.
I didn't see any problem with this. And I tend to be more sensitive to that kind of things. Of course, we're saying all this in the absence of anyone to speak
Females.
from the perspective of the other gender, the unrepresented gender in our room.
There's 2 genders.
Well,
Oh,
it depends.
shoot. Crap.
Now
I
we're-
shouldn't even said
Now
that.
we're getting
Crap.
now we're getting even more controversial.
Never mind. Sorry.
Don't say
My
the
bad.
G word.
I'm so sorry.
This-
Talkies.
We're
This is
not-
Talkies.
we're not
We're
touching
talking
that.
about
Anyway.
movies.
bring it back. Let's bring this home now. Let's bring this home. What I
we were
want to
talking
talk
about the sex scene,
dude,
right?
the sex scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right. So, just to recap what happened here. So we have an AI who is in love with her owner, companion, however you want to define it,
Yeah.
and he with her, but they can't actually physically touch. But she manifests in a way that is completely realistic and visual.
Mm-hmm.
And so she, I guess, hires a prostitute
Right.
to come in and be the physical part of her, and then
Yeah.
she superimposes herself over this prostitute. And as this sex scene is unfolding, you see them
Yeah.
overlapping each other,
Like
So-
4 hands
yeah,
on
so,
his neck.
Yeah, so,
And it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like
They're
it's-
like
like
out of
it's
sync
a
a
little
little
off,
bit.
yeah.
right, yeah. It having limited knowledge of how effects work. Dee can speak to this more, but the whole time I was just going, "Oh my gosh, I know how they did this, and it would be very hard."
Yeah, dude. Like the
Oh
whole
my gosh.
the whole time I'm thinking at least would be at least a lot of rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Like a ton of like going into there and actually, taking some of the arm and hiding it, and then taking some of the face hiding, and then
Like
coming back. and-
rotoscoping at like the arm hair level.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
jeez.
Like the depth compositing in this was just insane.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out. I'm like, okay, who's on a green screen? Who's on this set? Are any of them on this set? It was really,
It was really cool.
and it was flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could not see a seam in it at a time where I think a lot of movies' graphics are starting to get lazy and sloppy.
Yeah.
Either that or it's my jaded goggles, but I see flaws in
Little
effects
both.
all the time, and that was a masterpiece.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a masterpiece. This movie is better than most people will ever know.
Yeah,
It really
Oh,
is.
definitely. No, I think what we're talking about is more of the filmmaking aspects of the film. When so many people go to a movie, a lot of them want to experience some sort of entertainment, some sort of ride that they're going to go along with, like Thor, for instance.
Yeah.
like we just saw. And while something like Thor is like a great fun movie where you go in there and just enjoy yourself, this movie is more of like a showmanship of narrative.
Yeah.
And without sounding too pretentious, it's
We're all about it. Our podcast is called the Talkies.
it feels very artsy, and it's just you can appreciate it on
Would
so
you
many
say
different
that
levels.
this is a film while Thor is a movie?
No, Blade Runner 2049 is kenography.
Oh my! I don't even know what that is.
The highest form of the cinematic art.
Expression.
Yes.
the cinematic expression?
Yeah,
Wow.
the cinematic expression.
That's something. All right, well, here's another bit of theory and philosophy to dive into. So a lot of people say that the best stories make you forget where you are. You just get enveloped into the story. You become immersed. You lose the fact that you're in an audience and you go to another world. And I find that I stopped experiencing that when I was like 9. Like that's something children do and do well, I find that a good movie, I never forget that I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
Right? And a good movie, while I'm completely conscious that I'm in a theater and watching a movie, I enjoy every moment of that fact.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Right.
like, this guy's making decisions that is making every dollar I've spent on this ticket very worth it.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, I just want to throw it out there. The whole idea of immersion versus appreciation of craft and how that plays into whether a movie is good or not.
Gotcha.
Well,
Thoughts?
I don't think it definitely doesn't make a film. Not being immersed, it's kind of tricky to explain, I think. So like, I'm not always like, I don't forget that I'm watching a movie most of the time. Actually, all of the time, because you're in a theater, it's hard to forget that. But and I don't think it's necessary for a film to be super immersive to be good. But I would
Right.
say that Blade Runner 2049 definitely made me want to like stay. When it was over, I wanted to stay there. I wanted to be in that world and keep being within that atmosphere for much longer.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's key for a film to be that way, because I don't watch a ton of movies in the theater, and you know, like if I'm watching a film like on my computer, it's harder to be immersed, but I can still thoroughly enjoy like another big epic film.
For me, like you said, with the it doesn't have to be immersive to be good. Definitely that, you know, one of the most immersive films I've ever been a part of was Avatar.
Yeah.
Right. Which it's not that great of
Yeah.
an experience. I mean, so the experience is great, but it's not that great of a narrative, you know, depending on who you ask. But to me, it's quite opposite. I'm actually fully immersed in most films that have a very, very strong aesthetic. The Dark Knight, 300, you know, these films that have such a strong feeling, and I just get completely lost in it. And I love it. So I can't agree with you there, but yeah, it doesn't mean that it's good. I wouldn't say. I'd say it's because the world building is so awesome.
Yeah.
You know, they get all the details right. That's pretty much it.
Righto.
What do you think, Kenny?
Well, I stand by my original statement.
Oh yes. Oh right, you did.
All right, he
You did
started
speak
this
about this.
conversation.
Oh right, forgot about that.
But yeah,
that was a long time ago.
Maybe it's because I have kids, and so like there's a part of my brain that is always conscious of like where I am because I'm listening for someone scraping their knee.
can see that.
You know, it's like I have a part of my brain that just is always paying attention somewhere else.
Let's talk about real quick where we saw this. We saw this at
AMC.
yeah,
in Berkeley.
AMC. That's where
Yeah.
it was.
Let's talk about how we paid for it.
Movie
That's
pass.
my favorite part.
Yeah,
So this is
we
my-
all used our movie pass.
This is my third time. I spent $30 using $10. Yeah. So that was really cool.
And I haven't even been like aggressively watching movies. Like
Yeah.
not very many movies, maybe 2 a month. But guess what?
Still pays for
It
itself.
totally pays for itself. I am saving money with my movie pass, and you get that whole credit card feeling where you feel like it's free.
You do. You really do. You go over there and you swipe and it says card accepted. You're like, all right.
All
I'm
right,
going
I'm
into
in.
this movie, and I didn't pay any money.
I didn't pay for it. Yeah.
So we talk about movie pass a lot. I don't know. I still don't know how this company is going to keep existing because it seems absurd.
Can
I don't think they are.
Taylor, can you explain what MoviePass is?
Well, for those who don't know,
Not a sponsor of the program.
not a sponsor, unlike yerba mate guayaki come to life. But if you don't have a movie pass, go ahead and get it right now because it's $10 a month, technically $9.98 a month, and you get to see one movie a day. One movie a day.
Every day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And you pay $10 for it a month.
Yeah. So
Pays for itself
you
immediately.
could see 30 movies for $10.
For $10.
Yeah.
In a theater.
Yeah.
Pretty much any theater.
And the fancy ones too. Like we have this studio movie grill where it's like recliners
Yeah.
that they bring you food and it's like a
And
restaurant.
you can even do the ticket right there on your phone too.
Yeah.
At least on Studio Movie Group.
Yeah.
and
No,
those
it's
tickets,
awesome.
Those tickets are like $15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can get them for
Yeah.
$10.
So get Movie Pass while you can, because we all think it's going to disappear.
Yeah,
It will.
It's like,
Like,
it'll
I
be in
don't
like
know
a
how
year.
this is going to survive.
This time next year, it'll either
Because-
be revolutionary to
Yeah.
every other movie theater, or it's going to be gone. So you might as well get it so that way you can just experience the golden age, like 1 year of a golden age of seeing film in theaters.
Yeah.
Wild West.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they actually pay for every ticket.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
every ticket that you go use, Movie Pass is paying the theater for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not a winning business plan. So but these are smart people, so they must have some other. There must be more here that we're not
Yeah.
seeing. I don't know, but boy, it's fun having.
Yes, it
It's
is.
fun having, and
Yes.
we enjoyed using it to see Blade Runner 2049. So we have just around the table. We each give our final thoughts on Blade Runner before we
Sure.
wrap up today.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Taylor, you begin.
So Blade Runner 2049 is the best movie I've seen this year so far, and probably the best film I've seen in a couple years. I think Kay has one of the saddest stories I've ever seen, where the love of his
Yeah,
life
That is sad.
of an AI is an AI and is programmed to love him.
Yeah.
And then she's killed, and then
He's given false hope.
yeah, that he's a replicant, hero, savior replicant, that he's not actually, and he's just a regular old replicant. He thinks he's a human, and then he's not,
Yeah.
and then he's this and that. And then after his AI girlfriend, Joy, is killed, he sees an ad for her advertising to him, saying his special name, Joe, that he thought was special, but it's just an average Joe kind of thing.
It is sad.
Very sad.
It's really sad.
Just wanted to say that because it is very sad. But it is also a masterpiece, I'd say. One of the best sequels of all time, I'd definitely say. So many iconic moments, I'd say.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
I would say that if you want to see a modern film noir, that this is a movie to see.
Modern film noir plus $180 million budget.
Yes.
Uh,
DSLR stop.
film noir being
DSLR restart.
DSLR.
DSLR.
Camera break.
Good camera. No, it's not rolling.
Of course,
It's not rolling. It's rolling.
when I say modern film noir, I mean a dark story that that has elements in it that don't make you feel like a hero and don't make you feel like yes, everything's great, because not everything's great, and it shows you how shitty the world can be.
Yep.
It's definitely that. It's a very intimate story, despite the huge world it takes place in. Has a very special intimate story, and Dennis is amazing at what he does here. So yeah, really good movie.
And for a jaded dad who can't immerse himself in movies anymore, I thoroughly loved my time watching this film. I would say it's the best film I've seen since probably The Revenant. Revenant.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I loved that movie
Nice.
a lot, and this was just as satisfying. 10 Cloverfield Lane was very satisfying, but for very different reasons.
Yeah.
Also, just a really well done movie. But Blade Runner 2049 just left me feeling so happy that that good movies can still be made in this world,
Right.
and big movies. That's
Yeah,
the thing. It's
huge.
like all these, most of the great stuff that I'm finding, it's stuff that had to really struggle to get out there.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
smaller stuff.
Arrival being one of them.
Arrival,
Yeah.
Arrival is one of those.
Yeah.
Great film, and it's pretty well respected.
Yeah.
It got a lot of notoriety and success, but at
Right.
the same time, not nearly as much as it should.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I mean, we're just so overwhelmed with the Disneyfication of film,
Right. This whole
which
film
is
is business.
which is fun when you want it.
Right.
But boy, this movie's a breath of fresh air, and I will watch it many more times in my life, which is saying something.
That is saying something. That's actually saying quite a lot from Kenny.
Yeah, yeah. Not a big rewatcher.
What was the thing you said about cigarettes in movies?
Okay. When I see a movie that I feel like is wasting my time, I call it smoking cigarettes, because I saw this statistic that said like every pack of cigarettes takes off something like 7 minutes of your lifespan. And I don't even know if that's true or not, but as 7 minutes of bad film goes by, and I'm like, that was a whole pack of cigarettes. I just smoked a whole pack of cigarettes. And when I see just a terrible movie, I walk out just thinking like, I'm going to drop dead of lung cancer. Like, this was a huge waste of my life. And so I'm super picky about the movie.
Yeah.
Even with Movie Pass, I don't like wasting my time going to bad movies. I hate bad movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
so knowing that from you,
this movie was fantastic. Not a single on the cigarette rating scale. Blade Runner 2049 scores 0 packs of cigarettes.
All right.
Hey.
Way to go, Ridley Scott.
Perfect
Also,
score.
hey, applause to Ridley Scott.
yeah, right.
Where he had given us a string of movies where it kind of felt like, is he still
doing?
Is he still Ridley
him?
Scott?
Is he still doing
Is he still doing Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, and this definitely got my faith back in him and his work.
Yeah,
brilliant
me too.
guy.
Me too.
So great. Well, that wraps up our first episode of the Talkies.
I like it.
If you were lucky enough to be here for it, congratulations. Check out some of our other work. Again, WTF M. Night Shyamalan can be found on iTunes, other purveyors of fine podcasts, and on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
As well as at our website. Go to
Yep.
carmenline.films to find out about all the stuff we're doing, including Dee and Taylor's video game podcast, Confirmed. I'm not even a gamer, and I still think it's a very cool, interesting podcast. So check them out, and until next time, I'm Kenny.
I'm Devon.
And I am Taylor.
And we'll see you at the Talkies.
Oh.
I can't drink this because it's not mine.
You ought to be in pictures. You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be. Your voice would thrill a nation.